It's the film franchise that made Paul Walker a massive star. Fast and Furious, on its 7th installment, began filming in September 2013.
I don't have friends. I got family.
But only 2 months after production on the movie started, tragedy. Walker is killed in a speeding car. The moment of impact captured on this surveillance video. The car slamming into a light pole and tree, bursting into flames. His business partner, Roger Rodas, who was driving at the time, also dead at the scene.
There was nothing. We tried. We went to fire extinguishers and...
A coroner's report indicated the car was traveling at an unsafe speed, more than 100 miles an hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. Neither occupant had drugs or alcohol in their systems. The driver, Rodas, losing control for unknown reasons. In the days that followed, it became clear how much Walker was loved by his fans. The oldest of 5 siblings, Walker grew up with a strong Christian background and faith. Apart from acting, he was known for his humanitarian work. In 2010, he took a team to Haiti to help with earthquake relief.
I'm just glad every time I saw him, I told him I loved him. And he said the same thing to...
As the realization set in, questions turned to the franchise.
I'm gonna get you out of here.
How to finish the latest film. This was Walker just before the release of the first movie, explaining what made it all work.
You know, you hear about egos and, you know, people that are difficult to work with and blah, 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 blah. But everyone in this, we got along really well.
Most of Walker's parts were already shot when he died. Still, the script had to be rewritten. Producers decided they would retire Walker's character. Walker's brothers used his body doubles to finish scenes. And CGI, computer-generated imagery, was used to superimpose Walker's face onto their bodies.
I'm sure he's smiling right now because the way that this movie is done is always honoring him and paying homage to him, and I think that in the end, people are definitely going to love the way his legacy is being carried on.
He was one of the coolest chaps I've ever met. He wasn't a Hollywood type, he wasn't interested in the glam and the glitz. It was more about his family and about helping other people.
Paul Walker is survived by a 16-year-old daughter, and now a legacy of the most successful Easter weekend film of all time.
So what's the plan, Don?
The Taliban has published what it describes as the official biography of its leader, Mullah Muhammad Omar. And one of the main messages of this document appears to be that Mullah Omar is still, in fact, the leader of the Taliban. Even Taliban insiders that we've talked to, former Taliban insiders, say that part of the goal of the publication of this biography is to try to dispel rumors that Mullah Omar may, in fact, have died, perhaps even years ago. And that's partially because the reclusive Taliban leader hasn't really been seen or heard from in years. Now, we have to keep in mind that even when the Taliban was in command of much of Afghanistan, he was notoriously camera shy. That Mullah Omar, there are only believed to be just a few photos of him in existence to this very day. And of course, since the Taliban was ousted from Kabul by a U.S. led bombing campaign in 2001, he really has not been seen or heard from since, except from text messages that have been distributed, purportedly written by Mullah Omar. Now, also this biography, which was published on a Taliban website in a number of different languages, it's about 11 pages long, it tries to fill in some of the gaps in this mysterious leader's past. For example, saying that he was born in 1960, that his preferred weapon of choice was the RPG-7, or rocket-propelled grenade, and explaining that he was wounded many times in more than a decade of fighting against the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan and what the biography describes as the Soviets' communist Afghan puppets who were also governing on the ground in Afghanistan. And in one of those battles, Mullah Omar lost the use of his right eye. The biography also goes on to describe what it claims is part of Mullah Omar's daily schedule, that he begins his day with prayers, that he studies the Quran, and then that he begins sending out orders to his commanders, to a variety of different councils that make up the Taliban. The Taliban claims it's active in all 34 provinces across Afghanistan, still battling the U.S.-backed government there more than 14 years after it was ousted from power. Some analysts are arguing that perhaps one of the motives here is also to challenge ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, which has its own self-declared caliph, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This biography includes reminders that Mullah Omar was declared a leader of the Muslim faithful way back in 1996 in Afghanistan.